Going live 3, 2, 1.
YouTube live ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ.
Good afternoon, everyone who all are present here. Today's talk is all about placements, the challenges it brings, and how to overcome it. Placements play a vital role in each one of our life as they are the foundation for one's career in IT. So, today we have a lineup of people who are placed in a very good company to share their experience with us today.
Let us now welcome the event speakers. I now welcome Varun, who got placed in McKinsey with the job role of Software Development Engineer. McKinsey is a global management consulting firm that offers professional services to corporations, governments, and other organizations.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, Varun. I welcome Chandana, who got placed in Cisco with the job role of Software Development Engineer. Cisco is an American based multinational digital communication technology corporation. Thank you for joining us, Chandana. I now welcome Shaman, who got placed in WDC, Western Digital Company, with the job role of Firmware Validation Engineer. Western Digital is an American computer drive manufacturer and data storage company.
Hi, hello everyone.
Thank you for joining us. I also welcome Amshita, who got placed in Siemens, which is a US based electronic design automation multinational corporation.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us, Amshita. I now welcome Akshita, who got placed in GoToLogMeIn, which is a flexible provider of SaaS, software as a service, and a cloud based remote work tools for collaboration and IT management with the job role of data engineer.
Sania, wait a minute. There is some echo in the meet. There. YouTube, they are commenting that there is some echo.
Okay, just a minute.
Yes, I think we can continue now.
I thank each one of you for joining us today. Now I would like to call upon Varun to share his interview experience.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Varun Kumar, and as Hana mentioned, I'm placed in McKinsey and Company as a software development engineer. So I'm currently working as an intern in the company, and in 2 months, I'll be starting the role of software development engineer 1. So McKinsey was one of the first companies that came for placements in JSS STU. So the placements for McKinsey started in the last week of June. So the interview process consisted of 4 rounds of interviews. The first round was an online round where we were given 5 questions. 3 of the questions were coding based and 2 were on DBMS. So the 3 questions were relatively simple and they were solvable very easily. The DBMS questions were quite challenging. So in my experience, if you are a lead code solver and if you can comfortably solve easy and medium questions in lead code, then you can easily handle those questions. So I solved 3 coding questions and 1 DBMS question, and I was selected to the next round. So the second round was a pair coding round. So there the interviewers, they were monitoring all the candidates, and all the candidates were given the same set of questions. The interviewer were monitoring all the activities of the candidates, and the candidates, we should actually approach the question and explain the thought process properly to the interviewer. So after writing down the approach and showing it to the interviewer, if the interviewer is satisfied, then the interviewer would allow us to code the question. So the question was a graph-based question, and most of us were able to solve it in 30 to 40 minutes. We had to write down the approach and show the approach to the interviewer, and once they were satisfied, we coded it on the platform HackerRank. So all our movements were being monitored, and in that round, about 50 of us were selected to the next round. So the next 2 rounds were technical interview rounds. The first interview, it was mainly based on DSA and other core concepts such as operating systems, computer networks, and DBMS, and then obviously data structures and algorithms. So the interviewer was very friendly, and since it was my first interview, he was very understanding, and he tried to help me and make me feel comfortable. After a few minutes of normal conversation, we started with the interview. So the interview mainly focused on DSA and the DBMS and OS part of it. So in DSA, most of the questions were on graphs, queues, stacks, and the fundamentals of those data structures. And some algorithms on graphs were asked, and I was asked to write some pseudocode for some graph algorithms. And after that, the interviewer was very considerate, and he asked me which subjects am I comfortable in. I was honest and said that computer networks is not my strong suit. So he was considerate, and he asked only some basic questions on computer networks and focused more on DSA, DBMS, and operating systems. So after DSA, we moved on to DBMS. In DBMS, some basic questions were asked, and they were not difficult at all. If we had studied for the syllabus and the exams properly, then we could have easily handled those questions. And I was also asked to write some queries, which were relatively simple, not as difficult as asked in the first round of interviews. After this first technical round, 30 of us were selected to the next final round. So in this final round, major focus was on development and the projects that we had added to our resumes. So these projects they did not check the implementation of the project. We were just asked to explain how we went with the project, what was the approach, what challenges were faced while building those projects, what technologies were used, what were the challenges that, what problems did we face, how did we solve it, was it a team effort, how did you coordinate with your team members, and so on. After those questions, some in-depth questions about the projects were asked, like the basic architecture of the technology stack. For example, in one of the projects, I had used Django and React. So underlying architecture of Django and some features of the React, those questions were asked by the interviewer. After those questions, even some other projects had some networking concepts in them. So some networking questions were also asked. But again, the interviewer was very friendly and he was very considerate. Even though it was my first interview and I was very nervous, he helped me to remain calm and he was very friendly. And after asking a lot of questions on the projects, we moved on to the managerial part of the interview. So we did not have any separate managerial round. So in the same interview round, some managerial questions were asked, such as where do you see yourself in 5 years? In what role do you want to work in? What kind of opportunities do you want in the company? So these questions were asked, and he was not more focused on the answers, but the thought process and the communication skills were stressed. After those questions, some HR related questions were asked, but they were very simple, and some basic questions such as my views on some of the uh, current trends that were happening in the technology world. After those questions, the interviewer just talked with me casually, so it did not feel like an interview at all. He was very friendly, and it was more of like a conversation. So after those rounds, 5 of us were selected from JSS STU, and other 5 people were selected from NIE. So all these interview rounds, from the second round, which was code pairing round, to the final round, all this happened in a single day, and they were all offline. And by the end of the day, we had our results, and they announced the results. So it was a good experience. Since it was my first interview, they were considerate, and they were very friendly, and even the HRs of the companies were in the building, and they were trying to talk with the candidates. They were helping how to approach the interviewers, how to talk in an interview. So they were kind of coaching us outside the rooms, and they were very considerate. So yeah, this was my interview experience.
Thank you, Varun. I would like to call Chandana to share her interview experience.
Thank you, Sania. Hi, everyone. As she mentioned, I am working as an intern right now in Cisco, and I've been offered a full-time position there itself. Coming to my interview phase, it happened in the span of 3 days. The first day was, as Varun mentioned, it was a coding round for me as well. There was one coding question and a few questions that related to the basic concepts of CS and also the aptitude questions that you will find anywhere on the internet. In the second day we got to know the results, and there was a day for preparing for the interviews. And coming to the interview day, it started with a technical round for me, and that technical round lasted for about more than an hour. It was about 1 hour 20 minutes or so. So during that interview, I was asked to explain all the projects that I've been part of, and all the basic concepts that such as OS and DBMS networks and such as that. And coming to my strong point, like when they asked which subject I was comfortable, I went with computer networks because security and networks were my strong point. And they asked questions about that. And actually, the interview was for software development and data engineering. But since my skills were related to that, they were really very considerate of asking questions that were related to my domain. And the next round was a managerial round. So we got to know the results by 30 minutes, and we were like 12 people who got into managerial round. And there, I had a very pretty chill interviewer because we spoke about a lot of generic things, and it was mainly about how I managed to do the projects and how I am with people, because managing is all about that. And it was not technical. And I was asked a lot of scenarios to solve, and that was my managerial round. And after like 2 hours, we got to know the HR round results, and 6 of us were got into the HR round. And there I was asked about my location, or what my requests were. So yeah, HR round lasted for about 30 minutes, and after two hours, the results were out. So all this happened for me online. From the coding test and to the HR round, it was all online. And that was pretty much my experience in the interviews, because that was my first company that I sat for.
Thank you, Chandana. Now I would like to call upon Shaman to share his interview experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Shaman. I'm currently doing internship in Western Digital as a firmware engineer. In the selection process in WDC, it was my first interview after all, but I was very nervous. And in this interview, everything was online. From test to final HR round, everything was online. And in first, there was a preliminary test to get shortlisted for interview. It was an online test which has 4 sections, which has basic questions on aptitude, C++, SQL queries, and other EC related some questions. The preliminary test was straightforward, and then there was a first round. Before selecting, there was only 7 hours gap to prepare for the interview, because they have given the shortlist very late. There was 7 hours uh, of 7 hours of time to prepare for the interview. So I went to previous interview experience which is present in Geeks for Geeks, and I asked many seniors, and I read their placement feedbacks, so I can know what type of questions are asked in the interview. So when I go through these feedbacks, I got to know that many of the questions are straightforward and are and contains basic concepts in many of the core subjects, such as OOPS and DBMS, computer networks. So I stick on to the basics. So in this span of 7 hours, I majorly focused on basics of all core subjects. And then on my first round, there were two interviewers in the meet. And this first round lasted half an hour, and they asked me to explain one of my project in a detailed way. So whenever you go to an interview with your projects listed in your resume, make sure you have detailed understanding of every project in your resume. Then after this, they asked two basic and easy puzzles, one of which I have told them correct answer, but one of the puzzle I have given a wrong answer, but they asked me to make sure if it is correct or not. But even though it was wrong, I was confident enough to say it was correct. So be confident of what you are answering, whether it is correct or not. So and then asked some simple questions on OOPS, and one easy coding question which is based on some array related problem, which was easy. And my first round was very good. Then coming to the second round, they asked me to explain one of the other project which was related present in the resume, and they asked to code by presenting the screen two coding question, in which one coding question I solved very easily, but another coding question I was a bit nervous. So the interviewer was very friendly and he helped me to solve the question also. He has given some hints also in between the question, but the question was very easy. But I was a bit nervous because it was my first interview. And then they asked another puzzle which was related to some artificial intelligence, this 4 queens problem, which was very easy. And then there was third round, which was it has both managerial and technical as well. It was both managerial and technical. And in this round, they asked many questions on OS related questions, such as cache, what are registers, and main memory, secondary memory, different types of OS related questions. And he asked me to open one of the project source code and told me to explain one of the line. So make sure you know, if you are putting any project in a resume, make sure you know some of the code as well, because you don't know what the interviewer is going to ask on a particular day. So make sure you know everything. And they asked a simple mathematical puzzle, which was also very easy. And the third round was bit of good for me. They tested every part of the resume. They asked about what are the hobby, skills, and they will not leave any part of the resume, and will cover every question on your what you put on your resume. Then apart from that, the last round was HR round. It was very basic. I joined HR round very late. The HR was telling why were you late, and he was very casual. Then I got to know he was from Karnataka as well. So I talked with him in Kannada only. So the HR round was very friendly, and it got right. And then I asked about me as well. What are my strengths and weaknesses, and how do you approach any problem you are facing, or any how do you approach how to make your project approach for your project, and some other personal questions. That's it. Other than that, The interview was very, all four grounds were very simple and there was not much difficulty in the interview. So I would suggest you to make sure you know everything in core subjects and in coding as well, and uh, and there should be some luck, amount of luck as well in the interview, so that the questions you know would only come in the interview. So make sure you make sure you be good at everything. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Shaman. I would like to call upon Amshita to share her interview experience.
Hi everyone. Has already mentioned, I am working in Siemens EDA as an intern and will be joining there as full time itself. I am working in R&D department. Siemens was my third company which I went for interview. The first was JPMC where I had attended the hackathon, and the second was WDC which I had cleared 2 rounds, but I couldn't go for the next one. So Siemens was the third company. Like unlike others where they had coding plus aptitude for selection, we were directly shortlisted based on our CGPA. Like 8 of us were shortlisted for the first round, and we had 3 rounds in total. The first round was a technical round. I can say that it was quite detailed and elaborated round. Like my interview for the first round went for around 1.5 hours. Mostly the questions which were asked were on C, because they were looking for people who were like much more interested or had learned C. So they touched almost like from basics till the complex level in C, like from what is the scope and the pointers, everything else till the stacks, queues, everything was covered in the first round of the interview itself. Like I was asked basically to write a small piece of code and explain that code, how it works, and show it along with the output, like how it is going, how it is processed or what will happen. Everything was asked to explain in detail. And apart from that, they used to give me a few program short snippet of code and ask me how that works, or what would be the output of it, or what I had to correct in it so that the output is correct. So I think for us, like for my company, they were looking for a strong understanding in C, and like strong code knowledge about C. So if you are quite strong with your basics, I think most of the company will look for it. They look for people who are having strong knowledge. So make sure you are confident and strong with your basics. That was my first round. I think almost the whole C was covered during my first round. The second round, compared to the first round, was quite short. It was like around 20 minutes or so. In second round, there was not much questions which were asked to me. Instead, since I was new to EDA industry, our company basically works in EDA industry. The manager explained about what is going, like what are we going to work on, and how the industry works, or and all about that. And there were just few basic questions asked in the second round as well. After the second round, second was technical plus managerial round. There were few basic managerial questions asked as well, like how do you see yourself in 5 years, and what do you think you would be doing in 5 years, and all those things. After that, like I was selected to the HR round. HR round was quite short. It was like around 5 to 10 minutes, and here they basically asked questions regarding how I would resolve a conflict, or how I can handle a situation if anything arises in the company, or how I would solve a problem, and about the location details, or what I'll be doing in next 3 years or 4 years, what would be my plans. So all these were covered in HR round. So overall, I would like to say like my interview went quite smoothly. Like it was not that difficult, and it required like strong hold on your basic concepts. So yeah, that was my interview experience.
Thank you, Amshita. I now call upon Akshata to share her interview experience.
Hi, hello everyone. So as they said, I'm now working as an intern in data engineer in GoTo company. So actually, mine was a special case. So when the coding round was, it contains just coding questions, three coding questions, and one SQL question, no aptitude questions or nothing. And in three questions, one was like easy level and two was medium, and the SQL was difficult too. So after that, they shortlisted around 20-15 people. The interview was there like after 2 days, I guess. So in first round of technical, uh, he was very friendly and he asked about some oops concepts and some basic questions on linked list and all, and he was like really friendly, and it went for like 40 minutes. And after that, they were manager around for us, like in that I can't say just a manager round. It was like technical and manager round. He asked a DP questions and some coding questions, and also puzzles, and also a lot of managerial questions and all. As I was interested in data team, so he asked which team he wanted to join, and I said I wanted to join data team, and he was hiring for product team. So he said, okay, if you want to join data team, there will be a, we'll have to see the, if there is a vacancy, and there will be a still other rounds. So I don't know, it was my bad or good. So I just said fine. So I was rejected there, and I got a call from HR that there is a vacancy in big data team. So they'll send the resume. If they are willing to take interview, they'll take. So after one day, I got a call from HR like, yeah, the meeting is scheduled, interview is scheduled. In next day you can attend. So again, I have to attend the first technical round, and in that he asked some linked list question and one tough puzzles, and like on in every interview they'll ask something about projects, so I have to be prepared on projects. So that's all. And first technical interview was about like 45 minutes, and in second round it was a technical round. It was a big difficult one. He asked like four coding questions, which were like two are medium and two are difficult. I was he, in every interview was online, and in every interview they were like share your screen and write the code. We have to see the code. And in some questions, some scenarios, they like open the online compiler and compile it. So yeah, that's my second technical round was a bit lengthy, and yeah, it was difficult to say. I took a time to do, but he asked about the projects and all, the what are the really functions, activation function, you would in ML projects and everything. So be thorough with your projects. And next was manager round for me. So in manager round was like 1.5 hour. We discussed for an hour on one project, like if, in manager round the managers will go through deeply on what is your understanding on the projects and all. Like he asked like, if I want to buy your project, you are selling me, okay, then how do you make a changes, and how do you do like everything and all. So that was when, and as I was giving into for data team, the SQL is a must. So he was like on SQL, and he was also told like write a SQL code from your project and all. So SQL questions and advanced SQL functions also, and also some coding questions, and manager questions are must, like where do you see in 5 years. And also the one tricky question you may face is what are your plan for higher studies. So yeah, this may be a bit tricky question, and you should know how to answer that properly, like if you want to or not. That's really can ruin the whole interview. Okay. And that was that. And afterwards HR round. After this, mine HR round went for 40 minutes. He was asking like everything was friendly, and asked about the company, how is it, said something about company, and like asked what are your hobbies, what do you do, what is your last trip, and everything, what, like everything about everything. So just after that, yeah, that's all for my interviews. So totally I attended like 6 interview rounds, and yeah, it was went for like 3-4 days continuous my interviews experience. And this is not my first company, it was my third company. First one was WDC, which I got rejected in first round. and second one was Ben's, which I rejected in manager round because I said I wanted to work in data team because I was not good in any development. See, I wanted the data only. So this was my third team. So want to say, yeah, don't lose hope if you get rejected from any of the company. Will be many companies, so you'll get experience from interviews. So yeah, be confident, and you can do it. That's all, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshata.
So, thank you for all the speakers for sharing your experience. It was really good to hear you all. Okay, now we have common questions like FAQs regarding placements that we would like to ask you people. Okay, so now we'll begin with the questions. Firstly, okay, what is the right time to start preparing for placements? If it's like too early, we may lose touch, or if it's too late, we may not have enough time to prepare. So, when did you people start preparing for placements? Varun, like, could you answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said earlier, McKinsey came for placement in the month of June. So I started my placement preparation on November. So a few months ago, we had conducted an event called Vivechan, where we conducted mock placements. Our seniors had also done the same thing, and there were round of interviews where we were given the experience of the interviews, and it was exactly like a placement, but our seniors were the interviewers. So when that took place, I came to know that I should start preparing now so that I can ace my interviews. So that was conducted in the month of November. So from then I started my preparations. I started development early from the second year itself. So I didn't focus more on development part. So when it comes to interviews, there are three major things: development, DSA, and other problem solving skills, and other core concepts such as DBMS, OOPS, Java, computer networks, operating systems. So these subjects you will study anyways for the syllabus. So if you are confident in these subjects, you can keep it for last. But since these are theoretical subjects, you'll have to revise it and refresh your memory before attending the interviews. So if you are confident that you can cover these subjects, you can keep it for last and you can manage your time accordingly. I personally had to focus more on my coding skills. So from the month of November and December, I started practicing on platforms such as LeetCode, HackerRank, and CodeChef code courses. So I started to understand the fundamentals of DSA first, and then I started the problems. So every day I would set up some time, like 2 to 3 hours, not 2 to 3 hours, 1 or 2 hours to solve some problems, so I can progress. So once I got some confidence that I could solve the problems, I again started working on my development skill, such as the projects that I had added in my resume. So once I was confident that these projects are enough for my resume, again I started working on my core concepts. So as I said, I was not strong in computer networks, so I tried to improve myself in other areas such as DBMS, DSA, and operating system. So I kind of ignored computer networks and I went directly to study more on operating system and DBMS. So that worked out for me because I was not focusing on networks related jobs. So again, it's for my personal preference. If you are interested in networks, you should definitely study it more. So yeah, I managed my time accordingly. So in the span of 6 months, I was comfortable solving easy and medium questions on LeetCode, and I had fundamental knowledge of all the core subjects except computer networks. And I had some reasonable resume projects in my resume, and I had in-depth knowledge of all the projects that I had added in my resume. As Shaman mentioned, it's very important. You cannot not know what you have in your resume. You should know everything about everything in your project. So yeah, this process took me about 6 months. So yeah, since I had done my work and I had put in the effort, I had confidence that I can perform well in the interview. So there's no such thing as starting too early or starting too late. It completely depends on where you are now and what is your skill level now. If you know that your fundamentals are not that strong, you should focus more on those things. But if you ask me, you should start working on all the aspects by managing your time. If your placement starts from July, then calculate how much time you have left and divide your time accordingly. But yeah, focus more on all the three aspects that I mentioned.
Yes, thank you, Varun. Akshita, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, as unlike Varun, I started a bit late. I say I started just before, like not even 1 month before the placements. I'm saying that's not a good practice. Okay, I'm saying. So yeah, even though it will be a lot of pressure at last moment. So it's not. I'm saying do that. So it's better to start before only. But yeah, as I was bit good in coding, it was fine for me. But yeah, start doing the coding questions as Varun said. Use your plan preparely and just everything. Yeah, just as Varun said, I didn't study computer networks too. It's just your preference. Okay, it's not. I was good in SQL, DBMS, and I was aiming for data role. It was not need any computer networks. So yeah, if you are not good in one subject, just be strong in all others, so that they can't just get you a loophole in others too. So at last 1 month, it was really hectic for me, like completely focusing on it, what and all to be done and everything. So yeah, just start before that, plan it properly and do it properly. And yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say. It's fine if you, unlike these people, it was not my first company I cracked my interview. So it's fine if you fail and everything. So yeah, there are literally they come a lot of companies with a lot of good opportunities and a lot of good roles. So yeah, don't lose hope and be confident. Placement is all about mental game. How do you play well and how do you communicate well? So that's all, I guess. So that's all.
Thank you, Akshata. As we all know, DSA is very important. So, what are the various sources wherein you referred DSA from? Shaman, would you like to answer this question?
For DSA, main thing is from first onwards, from third sem to fourth sem, you will get to know about DSA data structures. In third sem and fourth sem, you got about algorithms. So uh, from starting itself, you have to focus on mainly data structures and how it is implemented in which programming language you are programming. So first you need to understand how these data structures have been programmed and how to apply these algorithms. So when I start about my journey, when I'm in third sem, I didn't know that there is some websites like HackerRank, with Geeks for Geeks, and other websites where we can code this problem statement will be there, then we should code in a particular programming language. I didn't know about that. I just go through C programming for data structures in third sem. I just implemented it in C, and in fourth sem, and I got to know about algorithms. And after studying of a particular algorithm, the logic, I have understood the logic of that algorithm. I try to code in it in my programming language, whether it is C or C++ or Java. After this, I got to know about this data structure, this websites such as HackerRank in my fifth sem. I don't know about this up to third sem, up to third year. So when I got to know about this, I try to start this coding every coding 1 or 2 questions daily, so that my programming on these questions will be very strong. So from then I got to I started studying. I started doing every 1 or 2 problems daily, so that my DSA will be strong. So to there are many playlists in YouTube where you can get to know about what are the types of questions in coding they can ask, such as dynamic programming. I referred Aditya Verma, and for others, Code Chef and other playlists and other channels in YouTube you can refer. And for basic coding, I would refer Geeks for Geeks, which websites in Geeks for Geeks website you have everything for all concept. For advanced concept like DP, dynamic programming and greedy, I went to Aditya Verma. That's it. Apart from that, I didn't. I used Levitin for algorithms, which is a very nice book for that, because I read the algorithm and tried to program it in my programming language, which helped me very lot, because when you try to if when you read a programming question, you will see what is the problem statement. You will understand what is the output, what is the input. But you got to and you should think of a logic which could solve that question. But if when you got to know the logic, you should code as well in a particular programming language, which should also come after a practice. So this helped me a lot when I studied algorithms. So these are my tips to those who are present in second year, so that they focus more on DSA and coding it in particular programming language. So that's it.
Thank you, Shaman. What are the various strategies to revise the DSA concepts? And is it necessary to touch advanced data structure concepts like tries, disjoint set? Varun, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So most of the companies in the first online round, they will ask some coding questions. So the questions that you will get there, it will be quite difficult than the questions that they will ask in those interviews. So if you are able to solve the questions in the first round, then you can be confident that you can cover the questions that they'll ask in the interviews. So coming to the complex questions, it depends on the companies. So you should do your research on the companies. You should ask your seniors who have been placed in those companies. And most of the companies will not ask such complex questions. DP and graphs is as far as they go. Most of the companies, again, there are always exceptions, but if you have time and if you want to be perfect, then you can go and practice those concepts. But if you are constrained by time, then it's probably enough to focus more on DP and graph questions. So that's as far as most of the companies get. And yeah, was there any other part to the question?
No, you have covered the entire thing. Thank you, Varun.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the next question is sometimes we feel that clearing coding round is very hard. So, how did you prepare for coding round? Amshita, could you answer this question?
Sorry, it's regarding the coding round, right?
Yeah. How to like clear coding round? Because people say that it's very hard to clear coding round. If you clear it, then it would be better.
Yeah, it is like majorly the first round is the coding plus the aptitude round, and for coding round, I think most of the companies they basically concentrate on DSA and as well as DP problem. In order to clear coding round, I think it requires like consistent practice. So I generally practiced in initially I started with hacker rank, but then I switched into lead code. So even and also in lead code there are like thousands of questions available. I would say that it is better if we practice the top 100 lead code like coding questions. That would be most helpful. And I think most of the coding questions for the first round can be we can practice are repeated from lead code. I cannot say like everything is repeated, but they are quite similar. So I think DSA and the DP problem, it requires a bit of like work. I would say that if you start early on your DSA and DP problems, it would help a lot. And make sure you practice all kinds of questions. Even in lead code, there are like easy, medium to hard levels of question. And every time you solve the question, what I used to do was select a topic and try to solve at least 5 to 10 questions in the particular topic. For example, if we select strings, there are like from easy, select 5 questions, solve in easy, then medium, select 5, solve those, and then hard, select 5, solve those. Like that, there are a list of what I can say is topics available. Like from every topic, make sure you cover as many number of questions as possible. The more number of questions you solve, it is actually better, so that you won't get tensed when you see the question. And also, like most of the companies give their coding round in HackerRank. Even though, like, while practicing, HackerRank has a lot of elaborated questions, it is better to have an experience about the platform. So I would say, like, practice in HackerRank as well. A few of the question, but most of the question, I think we can practice from lead code. And also make sure that you're clear with your basic concepts of DSA. And also, like, coding for the it is not just in the first round. I think coding is also asked in the subsequent round. So solving more questions might help even in the other round as well.
Thank you, Amshita. Projects play a vital role. So, what type of projects adds up the value to our resume? I hope Chandana will answer to this question.
Yes, yes. So projects, I think that is a very vital part, as you mentioned, in the placement process and also in your engineering as well, because whatever that we learn in the classes are very theoretical, and that application is only through projects. And coming to projects, there are a lot of projects, right? When you just Google it, like top 10 easy projects, you just do it and submit to the class for marks or for your events. But when it comes to placements, they just want what projects that solve some societal problems. I mean, that actually can make a change. We simply developing a website, and that lets you log into an application, that doesn't actually work. That is useful for your practice to do something big. So when it comes to project, personally, like I have also found code on the GitHub and copy pasted it the night before the submission and submitted it. But I actually worked with Bosch for one of the projects, as we had a course called Automotive Cybersecurity. So that actually gave me an idea about how actually a proper project works, like how much efforts that is needed to start from the scratch and also give the output in the right way as they expect. So I think, like, doing projects that have an impact is very important, rather than doing something to complete project or getting a higher CGPA or CIE marks. I don't think that is good, but I know engineering is all about that. But coming to placements, projects, you need to do projects that represent your domain, your strength. And also, doing projects will improve your soft skills as well, working with the team, and also leading a team of people to completing that project. And also, if there are any last minute changes that has to be done, you just come up with solutions right there. So yeah, coming to my projects, I had a project with Bosch, and one of the projects that I worked for machine learning was the stroke analysis and detection project. And that project was actually it went beyond our expectations, because it gave us a lot more positive results than we expected. And the second thing was, I was a part of a HPE project. In between, I joined, but then it gave me a clear idea about even that is a machine learning project. So yeah, those two projects played a very vital role in my interview, because my technical round was all about that. And since my domain was also security, my questions were related to all of my projects. And also, rather than knowing only what you do in the projects, it's very important to know what the project is about, what the others have also worked on, because you get to learn new things from that. And so, to summarize what I said, do projects that have an impact, and do projects that will actually give value to your CV. and that will improve your skills, and also try to do new projects out of your domain, because it will give you an exposure, and it will also give you an idea about what other domains are there. Because I did projects on machine learning, and I've worked on Linux for that, and Linux is one of the things that I actually learned very neatly when I did a project with Bosch. And when it comes to HP, it was all about machine learning, the Python language. I mean, I got to learn a lot of libraries that I didn't even know that that was there in the corporate world. So try to take up projects that is actually sponsored by companies, because in our department they've been tied up with HP and Bosch in our batch. It was there, so try to sign up for all those and be a part of those, because it will really give you an idea about how actually a real world project works. Yeah, I think I've answered your question. If there's anything, I'll surely add upon.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chandana. Okay, next coming to puzzles. So, interview puzzles are one way a hiring manager can test your problem solving skills and also lateral thinking skills. So, how do we prepare for these puzzles, and also how do we prepare for aptitude tests? So, Amshita, could you answer this question?
Yes. Even though in the first round you have both coding and aptitude, and coding plays like has a major significance, I think aptitude is also becomes important. So for aptitude, what I usually did was there were a few topics. For example, there are probabilities, time, clock, distance. Encoding and decoding based on relationships, based on analytical thinking. There are few questions. You can actually list out these topics, and based on and select one or two topics per day. And most important thing while solving aptitude question is the time, so that you should not spend much time on your aptitude, so that you can save all the time for the coding part. So make sure you keep a time limit while solving it, and take a topic or a two per day, and solve as many as problems as possible. I think IndiaBix is a platform where the questions are segregated based on topics, and it's like helpful if you can solve problems from there, like just selecting a topic or two, and like solving as many problems as possible from those topics would help. I think aptitude and puzzle doesn't require much of the time, like much of the preparation time. I think I have done it for one a month or so before my interview, and it's enough to spend like 1 hour per day in order to solve those. And a puzzle, I think puzzle also plays an important role, because that's where the manager tests your analytical thinking or your reasoning ability, or the how you solve a problem. So for puzzle, what I did was there are a lot of puzzles available in Geeks for Geeks, and they are pretty nice, and have seen the puzzles being repeated from the Geeks for Geeks. So I would say that like solving one or two puzzles per day over a period of time can actually help. So this aptitude and puzzle must go on along with the practice for coding. Yeah, so I think that would be sufficient, like practicing aptitude and puzzles from Geeks for Geeks as well as India Bigs. That would help.
Thank you, Amshita. So, as we all know, soft skills are an essential part of improving one's ability to work with others and can have a positive influence on further your career. How do we improve our soft skills? How does it impact? Akshata, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, when we come to soft skills, what we main require is like a proper communication skills and time management and teamwork and that's all team leading. And I can say that yeah, we can get those soft skills by joining a lot of clubs and joining being actively part of it. And the advantage of joining the club is you can also add it to your CV so that you show like I've done these, I'm hosted all that stuff. So they will be like, okay, like, she has some soft skills. Like, I can see the communication is really important while you're facing the interview. So, uh, if you know the answer and if you can't communicate properly, then it won't be a good link. it won't give a good impact on the interviewer. So communication is really important, and how we communicate even if you don't know the answer, and these and all. So in HR manager round, it's all about it should be like a good conversation rather than like question and Q&A. So how it's gone. So communication is really important, and they will ask some scenario based questions on like how you. It may be arise in a manager round like have you have you faced any problem while doing a teamwork project, and how did you come up with, or they'll give a scenario and based on that, or else they'll ask what you will do in this scenario, and this will also help like joining the clubs and doing or doing activities and also doing the project works in teams. These may help to improve your soft skills. So yeah, as a part of lot of clubs and also actively part, and we did a lot of team project. It was really nice to learn the soft skills from everyone. And yeah, say the communication skill is important, even though if you're not that confident or in first interviews, it's fine. Take your time. Like you will get to know after you get experience. Okay, no one can learn how to face interview in just first interview, and so it's fine to be a bit unconfident and just like learn from your mistakes, even in communications or anything. Be confident in the interview. Then that's fine for soft skill, I guess.
Yes, thank you, Akshita. Okay, now we'll move on to one of the most important questions asked in interview. That is, tell me about yourself. So, how precisely one should present regarding this question? Shaman, would you like to answer this question?
Uh, Hi. First of all, when we join any interview, the first asked question is tell me about yourself. So, what interviewers accept from you is the thing which not present in your resume. So you can start introducing yourself by your name and your some educational backgrounds. If the engineering background, then after that you can explain whether if you have given any internship, the experience you have from the internship, and after that you can say what are your skills, main skills. So like that I can have more confidence on what I am doing, such things which shows what your skills are, how you go through a project, how you accomplish any aims, or such things. Such things will help. Which such things which are not present in resume are the ones which are expected from. So interviewer accepts this type of things. So when you tell them about these things, then they would have a good impression on you. So tell about the things which are not present in your resume, so that they could have good impression on you. So that's it.
Thank you, Shaman. Why is it important to research regarding the company before interview? Are pre-placement talks important? Akshata, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, Anya. Pre-placement talks are really important. They will be like half an hour or something. That's all. So in pre-placement talk, you'll get to know a lot about company and what are the benefits on they're giving, and what are everything about the company and how the interviews process will be going on. This is also important. It's a very make a very it's a very important to attend the pre-placement talk. Don't miss it. You'll get to know lot of about the company and its benefits, and even though something you've never heard of. Okay. And researching about the company before researching about the company before is really good thing, because they may ask in the interview like why did you choose this company, and why we want us to hire you, and that's like, what do you see in the company and what we do. They may ask some questions on their company, like they test like what do you know about the company. So they asked in a lot of scenarios, so please be ready with that, like research to the company what they do, and have some basic ideas and all, so they can answer these questions. That's all.
Yes, thank you, Akshita. Okay, next we'll move to the next question. Okay, if I assume that I'm attending an interview and we might encounter a situation where we don't know the answers. So, how to manage that particular scenario? Chandana, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, Sahana. There will be like not everyone knows everything about all the things that they will ask, right? Like there will be scenarios wherein people will ask you, and suddenly you might know the answer, but doesn't struck upon you. So during that time, I would say that you can. One thing is you can take a minute of time. You can really ask the interviewer, to give 1 minute, and you can recall during that time. Or the second thing is, if it depends on the question. If it is a direct question, you can just, a definition of something, you can just recall, take a minute, recall, and tell them. And the second thing is, it is really important to be honest. There's a very thin line from being honest and from saying rudely that you don't know something. But it's really nice to be honest. They actually expect honesty because even they might not know something, even if they are asked at that moment. So one thing is take a minute of time from the interview and recall the answer. And the second thing is tell them that you are not aware of it right now, but you will go back and get back with it again. So that shows your skill of accepting things that you actually don't know, and also getting back to it and learn something. So as Akshita mentioned about the soft skills, they actually assess your soft skills during that time, like how you actually dodge a question or a problem that you were unaware of. So that will be one thing. And the third thing is, there might be a coding question that they will ask you to write the code for, and come up with an efficient solution for it. So sometimes what they think that is efficient won't be something that we think that is. So during that time, it is best to stick with what you know, because that is also important, that you are not confused by their perspective, and also stick with something that you think that is right. So yeah, so that three qualities should be there. And the fourth one is, even if you don't know, give it a random guess. Just guess it, because you might not know. You might be telling the right answer, and be confident with whatever you say. And when it comes to technical, you can assess the interviewers knowledge about that topic, and you can just tell them that you don't know this, but you know this. So let's say there is a question there's a question related to SQL query, and there might be an efficient way to answer, but whatever isn't that much efficient. So they might give you the feedback, accept it, and tell that you will go back to it and study about it. So there are like four ways. Either you say that you need more time and answer, or you say that you don't know, or stick with what you know because you're very confident about it. And third thing is, accept whatever the feedback you've gotten and tell them that you learn after the interview, and thank them for the knowledge that you gained, even if you don't know. So you can actually do this because it'll actually tell what kind of person you are during that times.
Yes, thank you, Chandana. Okay, Akshita, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, as Chandana said, I wanted to add suggesting, if they ask you any coding questions, simple coding questions, and there is a lot of many ways to answer it. So just there are like two scenarios. They may ask the efficient way. If they're asking efficient way, just go with the efficient approach and just give that answer. If they're not asking the efficient way, just go with basic. After that, they will ask like how you try to make it a bit more efficient in time complexity or space complexity. Then you can give your efficient approach. Okay, and if they must ask no, still more efficient, then you can go. This may also take a lot of time in the interview, and it will show that you know the code to write in simple way and also in efficient way, and how to improve the complexities, time complexity and space complexity. So yeah, that's a nice approach. I feel if they don't ask you to go with the efficient approach. So that's all I guess.
Thank you, Akshita. Nth moment revision. What are the important and mandatory concepts that has to be revised a day in prior to that of interview? I hope Shaman will give answer to this question.
Okay. As I said before, when I got shortlisted for this interview, I was having just 7 to 6 hours for preparing the interview. So as I said before, I go through the interview experiences and other feedbacks from my seniors, and I decided to study only the core concepts, core concepts in the subjects such as OS. In OS, most of the interview questions will be on basically on process scheduling, synchronization, deadlocks, or virtual memory. And in DBMS, most of the questions will be on normalization and acid properties. They will not dig deep into any of the advanced topics on DBMS. They will ask such as SQL queries, acid properties. That's it. And in computer networks, I went to all protocols and what the every protocol does, and which purpose it is used. And OOPS concepts, I have studied all basic OOP concepts, all fundamental OOP concepts, and on all how these OOP concepts are applied in my language which I use. And for every and every project I have put in my resume, I have go through the how every project works. And I also went through some of the source code of as well. And then in interviews, you don't get any complex programming language programming questions such as DP or greedy or graphs. That type of questions are not does not come interview. So I went to some basic algorithms, uh, on mathematical type programming questions, array type questions, and some basic string questions. And I went through some basic algorithms on sorting, searching. These algorithms, they don't ask you to code that, but they will ask the logic of that. So I went through the logic of different type of sorting and searching algorithms. At last, I tried to solve some medium to easy DSA questions so that it can get a good flow for the interview. Then that's the last last minute preparation I went through for the interview.
Thank you, Shaman. Okay. There are chances that we might get rejected from the company. So, how to handle that rejection? How to bounce back even stronger? What should be our mindset? Amshita, could you answer this question?
Yes, Sahana. I think rejection is something that most of us might face. Like as per my experience, Siemens was the third company which I got placed. So I
Oh, I think there is some network issue here. So, Akshita, could you like answer this question?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As um, Shita said, my this is also my third company. So yeah, the one thing is after the rejection or anything, you may feel a bit bad for some time. Like everyone from your friend circle are getting placed and you're not getting placed, and there may be a scenarios like your friends get asked something you know, but you got asked something you don't know. Some there will be like in this luck also bit matters. So yeah, one thing you should not lose a hope anytime. So as I said, the placement is all about the mind game, like how you play and how you bounce back from all the rejections you get. So even though if you get a rejection and see what I say is, if even if you get rejection, just learn from something from this. Like if you don't know some questions or anything, learn from there and you'll get to know where are your weak points and where are your weak subjects and get learn to it. And you can just you can also just learn what are your loopholes in the resumes also. So rejection, just take it a part of like your learning process. So if you get rejected, yeah, be a sad for a bit time. You'll be obviously, then it's fine. Get yes, just get a bit more energy. Like, no, yeah, I have to do this, and I have to correct myself in all the aspects I've failed till now. So yeah, that's what. Just bouncing back with a still lot more energy. That's what the main point. And having support from friends. I fortunately had some friends to support me through the hard days. So yeah, that's the important thing. Like as I said, placement is all about mind game. So bouncing back from the rejection, like having the positive thoughts, like just focus on your placement and don't do anything, don't get distracted, just do your work, learn, code, and everything, revise everything as much as possible so that you don't forget and answer properly. Sometimes it's just you know the answer, but you have not said in appropriate way or not conveyed to the interview properly. So see improve your communication skills and see where you're wrong. So all I have to say is just learn from your mistakes and go through it. That's all I guess.
Thank you, Akshata. Is internship compulsory? How is it an added advantage to our resume? I hope Chandana will answer to this question.
Yes, Anya. I mean, most of the companies that come to our college will surely give internships and also full time, like most of the companies. But there are also companies that give only full time, or the other way around. So what internships actually teach us is it will give us a very near view about how corporate actually works. I mean, it actually depends on different internships or different companies. But in my personal opinion, in my internship, I am actually treated as one of the full-time employee who's responsible to deliver regularly. So during that time, I get to know what I'm actually responsible for, and I get to work with the company in a very near circle. And when it comes to CV, internships look very good on them. That will give an edge over the people who doesn't have internship. That's because the interviewer will have an idea that the person has already worked on some real world project and also been a part of a very serious project to a company. So that will give a very big edge over the other people. And the second thing is internships are like it depends on the company too, but the few days starting days of the internship. In my company, they call it as the honeymoon days, like wherein you learn about the company really well, and you try to understand the vision and mission. Not exactly how our college makes us by heart those things, but actual one thing that we have to know what our company does, and it will give a very good experience to work with the company. And yeah, it will make you more responsible, and it will definitely give you an edge over the other people. But adding on to that, that will never stop people who doesn't have internship to get a job. So yeah, internship will give you money and experience, but even without it you can, but a little more effort. So yeah, that is what I would like to say.
Thank you, Chandana. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. How to choose the ideal company? Do we have to look out for the job role or for the package? Varun, could you answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the most important questions that everyone should ask before starting the interview preparation. Unfortunately, there's no definite answer for this question. This greatly depends on your personal interests and what you want from your job. So, for example, let's say a company offers a role which you are interested in, but it doesn't offer a satisfiable CTC. It depends on you whether the job role is good enough that you are interested in the job well enough that the CTC is not an issue for you. So it depends on you. So we cannot provide a definite answer for that, but we can help you make an informed decision about it. So CTC and job roles are the most important things that you should consider while sitting for an company. But there's another important thing, that is growth opportunities. So even if the CTC is not good, you joined only for the job opportunity or the job role that you love, if the company provides good growth opportunities, then you can easily climb up that ladder and even shift to other company or grow in that company itself. And it's true for the reverse of that. If you are not interested in that job role, or if you do not have passion for that job role, you only join for the company for the CTC. If the company is good enough and if the company provides more growth opportunities, you can easily shift to other roles in that company. So some companies provide that opportunities. If you join as a QA specialist, you can easily move to development if you grow well enough. So, as Akshata mentioned, you should do extensive research on that company before making any decisions. So, ask your seniors who are placed in that company, ask how the job is, ask how the work culture is. That's also another very important aspect that you should consider. Work culture and growth opportunities are very important. And other than connecting or contacting your seniors, you can directly contact the employees from that company on LinkedIn and ask how their experience has been and how the company works. So you can first send a request, and if they accept, you can easily chat with them. They most of the employees will be friendly, and even you can contact ex-employees of that company to get the feedback. So ex-employees, they will not have any incentive to lie about their company, so they'll provide honest feedbacks about the company. So you'll get proper feedbacks on how to grow in that company. Whether is it worth to join that company just for the CTC or just for the job role, you can gather all the information, contact your seniors, contact the employees, and make an informed decision yourself. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Varun. Okay, now we have already covered so many questions. So, audience, now it's your time. If you have any questions, you can post it in the live chat. We'll try to answer most of your questions. Okay, I had a question from my side personally. Asking questions about the company in the end, that is, in the end of the interview, when interviewer asks you if you have any question, is it is usually advised to ask some question. My very common doubt is what exactly should we have to ask them? Are there any particular questions? Like, could any one of you take this? Chandana, would you like to answer?
Yes, Sahana. I mean, yeah, actually, to be frank, during that time, during my HR round, I was asked if I had any questions, but I actually didn't have any particular question, but I asked them how their experience is in the company. So I know, like, we are very sure that we won't get the honest possible answer, but we will get to know the work culture, or how what is the role that he or she is working in. So that is one thing that I actually asked. And the second thing is, I asked, like, if you ever doubt that you won't get the role that you like, or you're applying to companies on the company basis, not on the role basis, you can ask if there is a chance to switch roles, or how frequently you can switch domains in the same company. So that is there. And the third thing is, sometimes there would be special incentives that is given from the company. I mean, it purely depends on that company. So you can ask them what are the special incentives that you might get when you actually join that company. So I think these were the questions that actually popped up in my mind during my interview. So yeah, if there's anything else, like other people can really add on.
Yes, thank you, Chandana. Varun, would you like to add anything?
Okay, guys, so there are some network issues. Akshata, would you like to add something?
Yeah, as Chandana said, uh, even though if you don't have any questions, it's a nice practice to ask some questions about how's the company's life is going, and about the companies, because they will think like you are quite bit interested to know about the company and I was there in the company and all. So I feel like it's a best practice to ask questions even if you don't have any questions to ask, like just for the sake, so that they think that you are interested in companies and something like that. That's all, I guess.
Yeah, one thing I'd really like to add on is if you think the interviewer is actually friendly, you can ask them their feedback or suggestions to how to um, how to involve in, like, since when you leave the college and the companies are totally different from what we do in colleges, you can ask them for suggestions or anything that they would like to share with us so that we can inculcate in our career as well. Career advice, I would say. So if there's anything that they would like to say, in a very short way, you can ask them for an advice, or if they're friendly, you can really ask them for the feedback about how you can improve and what you can improve in aspects of soft skills. That you can actually do.
Okay, thank you, Chandana. Here's a small personal question from my side. So, is it mandatory to get our resumes verified with any one of our seniors? Be like, we can contact them through the LinkedIn profile and then request them to spend some time out of their busy schedule and get our resumes verified. So, Amshita, can you like? Would you like to answer this question?
Sorry, could you repeat? And sorry for the interruption. The last time my laptop got switched off, I was outside. So.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'll repeat the question. So, is it mandatory to get our resumes verified with any one of our seniors? Be like, we can try to contact them through any LinkedIn profile and request them to spend some time out of their busy schedule and go through our resumes. So, would you like to add something upon this?
Yeah, I would. It's not mandatory, but I would like to say it would be good if you get it verified from some senior, because they would have some experience and they would have already gone through the process basically. So they might know what mistakes might be there, or they can suggest you some better options, like how you can build your resume or how you can improvise on it. So I think it would be better if you can ask any of the seniors and contact them, so that your because many companies also shortlist people based on the resume. Like if there are a lot of participants and they cannot go through your resume manually, the first round they also consider shortlisting based on resume from few keywords and all. And also, like, resume is something that gives an impression about you. So has the interviewer does not have any, like, they don't know you personally. So everything on your resume basically gives the first impression. Along with that, however you answer the interview gives the impression. So I would say having a good resume will always be a plus point. So it would be nice if you can get it reviewed from someone.
Okay.
uh,
Thank you,
yeah, we won't
Amshita.
be busy in weekends. Okay, so you can contact any of us. You can contact any of us, any seniors. There are like we can get our number from any poster, or you can ask us any of the juniors or any seniors. You can get number. We are always free. You can just get touch with us if you have any other questions. If you don't want to ask here, want to ask personally to Amshita or Chandana or someone, so you
I
can
think you can
just ping
contact
them or
any one of
contact
us.
them,
So we would
contact them,
be
and
glad to help
get your
you.
resume checked out with Amshita
And
especially. Varun,
to
go ahead.
add to Amshita's answer, it will be amazing if you get it reviewed and checked from a senior who has placed in that specific company. Because resumes will not be static. It has to change company to company depending on the job role and the job description and what they say in the pre-placement talk. So you may have to modify your resume depending upon the company. So if you get feedback from a person who is placed in that company, then you can easily achieve that, and you can make a great impression from that resume if you have a feedback from someone who works in that company.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you,
Varun.
Varun.
Yeah, now we have a question from audience. So the question is there any CGPA limit to appear for a company? Anyone could take this question.
So in our college, as you might know, we have tier system. So if you are placed in a tier, then you cannot appear or apply again in that same tier. So the tires, you might know this, from 0 to 5 it's one tire, from 5 to 20 it's another tire, and above 20 it's another tire. So if you get placed in one of these tires, then you cannot apply in that tire again.
Yeah, and for CGPA, I don't think there's any specific CGPA like, but to get to the companies, they may say like seven. Seven is minimum. They'll say they need a seven minimum CGPA to get to the interview or test. Other than that, only I guess only one company, maybe 8.5 it came. Maybe Amagi was there for only 8.58. So I guess basically if they just ask 7 or 8 plus CGPA. That's all. So there is not like particularly 9. You have to have 9.5. Yeah,
The
Amshita,
CGPA
go on.
specification is mentioned during the job description that comes when you have to apply for a company. It will be specified there itself. And as they already mentioned, I think not most of the companies have CGPA restriction. It's basically above 7. I think it was our company was only the one which just shortlisted based on CGPA. All the other companies, there will be a coding and aptitude round. So CGPA would just be a criteria, like not very much strict on CGPA.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a CGPA above 8, I think you can sit for any companies. So I think that's like the safest thing, to get a CGPA. If you have like more than 8, 8.1 also, it's fine. You can sit for any companies. And also sometimes they ask, there's a criteria for your 10th and 12th marks as well, right? I mean, they had 70% and 80% above that, you can sit for the company. So I'd suggest if you have a place CGPA above 8, you can sit for any company.
Okay, so here is another question from the audience poll. Should we concentrate only on one type of language or learn multiple languages? Because as on part of the course, they have just C++ and Java as their core programming language. So what can you add to this question? Any of you can answer.
When
Yeah.
it comes to programming language, you can be strong in any programming language, whether it is C++ or Java. But when it comes to placement, some companies might ask if you are strong at a particular programming language. For example, in my company, most of them, the programming language is used is Python. But my company didn't ask, my interviewer didn't ask that I should be strong in this programming language. I basically said that I'm strong in Java. He accepted it, and I coded every programming question in Java itself. There is no such restriction for that particular programming language. You could be strong at a particular programming language, and you can say I am good at other programming language such as C, C++. Then you can say what your strength according to particular programming language. There's no some restriction on that.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. One thing is, like, if you are very strong with your C, I think you can learn any other language in a month or 3 weeks. So make sure that you are very strong with DSA in your C and C++. So it's very easy to learn other languages, and yeah, I think it's very important to learn the basics of C because it will help you learn the other languages very fast. And it suggests to learn any of the languages in OOPS, either Java or Python. So I think like two languages you must be, at least you must know the concepts and coding with that. So C, if you know C, you can learn any other languages, and one of the languages is OOPS because Python and Java is something that we use in the companies a lot. So I think that those two would be good.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we have another question
And
from
would you like me to
audience.
add another point?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Uh, like Chanina already said, C is the most basic language. But I think apart from Python, it is good if you are good in either C++ or Java. Like in the first or the second round, most of the like first round is the coding plus aptitude. You can choose any of the language of your choice. But I think in the second or the third round, where you go for technical round, most of the company prefer like either C++ or Java, like because Python has many built-in libraries and all those things. So even if you're coding in Python, you should be aware of all the data structures, the interior part, and how that works. So even if you're like if your go-to language is Python, I think it would be advisable if you can learn C++ or Java as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question is the role very important while choosing a company, or is it fine to work with any role if the company is good?
Yeah, I like to answer this. Yeah, it's purely a preference. If we are like most of them or want to go to SD or development side. So if you are like completely in SD side, almost they'll ask for SD. So the company has ICTC and they are offering for SD, it's fine for you to go. But if you have other interest like data or any other role, they there may be uh, not a lot of opportunities for data engineer in lot of companies. Okay, in most of the companies they only come for SD. So it may be like you are taking a risk and chance if you are waiting for a role. But if you want to get placed somehow and you can't just bear it, then you can go. But if you want to get the role you want or wait for it, you can just wait. But it there is no guarantee that that some nice company will come for your specific role. So I have to be prepared for that also.
Thank you, Akshita. So I think that's it. We don't have any questions from audience. I request Abhay to conclude this event.
Yeah, so good afternoon, all. I hope I'm audible because I have some network issues. If anyone can acknowledge,
Yes, yes, you are
yeah,
audible.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Like, like we have had some 5 to 6 interview experiences from our, friends or members. Like most of the interviews, like go in a similar way. So, like these points, like if you all, concentrate and work on what was, told or shared by all of our friends, like that would do for your college placements. There is nothing to worry as such. And one more thing is like I was pleased that there was no much discussion about recession or something here. Like we are still in our college placements, and like there is some small effect as of now of what we've experienced. Like if you put some X amount of effort, it takes some delta more amount of effort to get placed in some companies. Like in college placements, like I mean we have done our part of sharing our experiences, but you will understand what college placements is only when you take part and go for your interviews. Like 1 or 2 points like I thought was important here is like small points. First one is like your attitude or your etiquettes in an interview. Like when you enter the interview room, most of your interviews views would be offline in the placement cell. You have to look out for and maintain some certain level of what to say etiquettes. And the second thing is like you've prepared enough, you've cleared your first year, cleared your second rounds, you're going for an interview. It takes some big heart to be confident enough and answer in the interview. Like you've done all your hard work, there is no point of you being scared of fear or being underconfident in an interview. That would take your entire chance out. Like it would ruin all our efforts till now. Yeah, the second thing what we felt was like some people, like after their preparations or something, like try and tend to become overconfident, or those things also happen with some. Like I might be a little harsh, but even we have experienced this. We have heard from our friends or from my brother or seniors, like the company which has come to hire you will get X more number of participants or people who apply for their companies. Like they might be even better than what your level is, your or your skill sets or anything for that matter. So it requires to be like in a certain position where you answer the questions in an optimal level of, what say, I can put it like this, in an optimal manner, like with surface level knowledge of what we have in our college or in a university time. There is nothing like we have to be overconfident in an interview where they're experienced for more than 5 to 10 years. Like only you get to know this only when you get into the company. So be careful with that also. And yeah, like I would request any of you like here to give some tips about their resumes, like how big or how small it should be, like what might be included, what not to. That would also help here.
There is one question in live chat. Will our college give attendance if we go to internship? Definitely not. No, the college will not give any.
They'll give. Don't scare them. They'll give. Don't scare them.
You should travel from myself to
Attend
go.
Saturday classes.
Attend Saturday classes.
If you have attended most of the classes, then finally they will give you attendance. Uh, and if there is like shortage from beginning, then that might become some problem.
Have a good relationship with lecturers. Ask them attendance. Beg them. That's all we can do. Yeah, resume. Best practice only one page. No, it's not a good practice to have a resume 2 pages and everything. Add everything. Just follow a standard template and just keep a columns and make it everything brief. Okay, don't just explain everything like what I've done, achievements and all. Make it a bit brief. Explain 2 to line of projects, and for every project explain 2 lines about what it is about, and your education background and what are your skills. Just keep it a brief and just 1 page. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I mean, in your resume, like divide your resume into like three parts. First part is your name and your contact number, your email, like how to reach out to you. And the second thing is your educational background, about how Akshita said. And the third thing is your projects. When it comes to projects, the number of projects doesn't matter actually. It's the intensity of the project that you do. So even if you do like two proper projects, that's very, very fairly enough. And there try to mention what are the tech stack that you've used, and one line description of your project and one line of what the languages or what frameworks you've used. And the third thing is skills. So when it comes to skills, we just try to put on a lot of skills, try that we feel that we can impress interviewers with that, and put on somewhere we just put on confidence is one of the skills, and just peak out in the interview. So one thing is try to constrict your skills to only technical skills. So when it comes to soft skills, the interviewer can make out during the interview how confident or how lively you are. So make sure that it is very it is not, make sure that it's not descriptive, like explain all your life story and how actually you started the project. Try to make it very precise in 1 page as Akshita said, and yeah, try to give importance about more of it technically. And also try to not try to, you have to know each and every word in that resume. You can't just bluff there on the resume, because your resume is your face. You can't that is where the interview starts for you. So try to know each and every word what you've what you've put there. Although like sometimes if you like mention the project that you haven't done, but your friend has done, try to collect as much as information from that project and be confident about each and every word. So that is one thing. And one of the perks of being in LCC is you'll get to get access for our templates as well. So it will be like ready-made resumes, and you can just put in your information. So yeah, that is one of the perks.
Thank you.
I
At last but not the least, I would, yeah, Amshita, continue.
like Chandana said, it is very important that you never lie in your resume. That resume must only contain truth, because if you have put something and you get caught up in the interview, that will give a very bad impression about yourself. and like keep your resume to the point. I think most of us had kept the resume has two column. That could be a good option, and you get a lot of templates for resume in Canva, even Nova projects of Nova resume. There also you can get good templates. And apart from that, I think it is necessary to mention some keywords because nowadays, like many companies shortlist your resumes based on the keywords. And again, like I said, the keywords which you put in must not be like lie. So what all the tech stacks you know, what are you going to put into the resume? It must only be something that you already know, so that even though the resume, like the interviewer comes up with a question on that, you must be in a situation to handle it. So yeah, there are many companies that shortlist your resume based on keywords. So that is also very important when you construct your resume.
Thank you, Amshita. So, at the last but not the least, I would like to end up this session from a small question from my side. As we all know, this is a recession season. So, would recession affect our placements this year?
No.
Pradeep sir can answer this question, I guess. Abhay, what do you say?
If Sumukha is there, he can answer.
Yeah, he has some experience there. Okay.
Keeping all the recession in mind, it is more important for us to prepare well for the interview. So, if, we should be prepared to face the interview. So I think it is not much important to keep recession in mind as of now itself, because that can actually scare you if you keep thinking about that.
And also, like every year, every company needs new people in there, so that they don't want to get old with those old people. And JC is our college is one of the best college in terms of in their eyes, so they will come to take people from our college. So you don't have to worry about that, and you will get placed. But it might get tougher, but there will be companies.
Yeah, and what we have heard as of now, majority wise is like Meta has laid off, Google has laid off, they have laid off. Like we are not sitting for Google or Meta, right? So there is nothing to worry as we are still in our college placement. So yeah, you should not have recession in your mind. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I once again thank you, thank everyone, one and all present over here, for making this event so cherishful. And I once again thank LCC for providing us a great opportunity to conduct this placement talk. And thank you guys.
Yeah, and last thing,
Yeah.
if you guys
Thank
have
you.
any doubt or anything, you want to check your resumes or anything, you can just contact anyone from LCC or anyone, even are free in evening or weekends also. We'll just reply back when we're free. So we are not that busy. We can help you guys. If you have any questions or anything, you can just contact us. We'll be really happy to help you guys.
Yeah, all the best
Everyone.
everyone for your preparation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the best to you.
All the best,
Good luck.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all.